Hello and welcome back to Legend Lake in Planet Coaster 2. Now, this is episode 4 of my full park series. If you haven't seen the other 3 episodes, then make sure to check out the playlist, which I'll link up in the top right. But if you have, welcome back. If you remember, in the last couple episodes, we've done this entrance area with Legend Keeper, the Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster. And then in the last episode, we started on the Viking area with our B&M Hypercoaster, Sleipnir, and this whole little area as you come into the Viking area. Now we are continuing with the Viking area in this episode, and that is going to come in the form of a huge dark ride. Now this thing is absolutely massive, and there's a reason for that, which I'll get to later. But first, let me just show you what we're going to be working on in this episode. So first, there's a path going under the final camelback on the B&M Hypercoaster. And when you come underneath, that brings you into this small little plaza area with this little mound here. Now there's going to be a tree up on there to signify Yggdrasil, the world tree in Norse mythology, which is the tree which all of the 9 realms are kind of connected around. So that's what's going to be here. Because as we come over to the dark ride, as you can see by these labels, this dark ride is going to be themed to all the different kind of realms that you see in Norse mythology. So we've got, I'm not going to go through all of them right now, that'll be for the next update, but we've got Asgard, Vanaheim, Midgard, Alfheim. All of these are the different realms that you find in Norse mythology. So I'm not going to go through the entire layout of the boat ride, but I think that's going to be because I think that's going to be a waste of time. But in terms of the queue, it just kind of snakes around the side, very very long, and this is all going to be an enclosed queue line. And then you come into this room, which is very similar to what you find on a lot of boat rides. I'm kind of taking the inspiration from Fata Morgana at Efteling. They've got this kind of setup where you've got the rotating disc. Now, obviously, you can't do that very well in Planet Coaster 2. Obviously, in real life, these air gates wouldn't be here because they would be rotating with the thing. But you have to, you have to make do with what you've got. And this is quite realistic as to what it would actually be like. So it's fine. So I've got the on-load and offload station there for good throughput. And then you go around on the ride, which again I'll talk about in the next update a bit more when some of the actual theming has gone in. And then you go up down the exit path, all the way down here. A very long exit path, but it kind of has to be since the station's all the way up there. And then we've got a very small little gift shop here. With all of the new gift shop stuff from Update 6. It probably won't be new when this video comes out, but at this point it is new. And then I've also just got some body warmers here because there is a little drop on the ride. Probably wouldn't get you that wet, but just in case. And yeah, so that is everything that we're going to be doing in this episode. And obviously the dark ride and the dark ride theming is going to take up most of the effort that goes into making this episode. But then again, it's going to be very 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 excited to pull an actual dark ride together, which I haven't done in this game yet. So that's going to be really really fun. I can't wait to use all the pieces and create kind of all the different vibes of the realms. So you're going to have kind of the more fiery realms like Muspelheim, and then Niflheim, which is an icy realm. It's all going to be really cool to like pull all of the different aesthetics together, and that's going to be a very nice point of it, because it will be like kind of teasing me in to building dark ride. So I have a little bit of a go at building kind of every different aesthetic that you can do in a dark ride, so it'll be good for my first one. That said, see you in the next update when I have started work on the theming. Well, as you can see, a lot has changed since the last update, and the theming has started to go in on this massive dark ride. Now you've got a pretty good overhead view of it right here. In all the different scenes, you can see kind of all the different aesthetics as they are right now. I will take you through all of them in their current state, and then I'll take you through all of them in their finished state when I finish them. But first, I'm just going to quickly talk about this little plaza area. So I kind of want it to be like a separate area. So you kind of go under this arch. It's like you're going into the Yggdrasil area. So this is what it looks like. I really, really, really like this. This is probably my favourite part of the build so far, the outside, because it's the most finished. But we've got the big tree up on here to signify Yggdrasil, of course. The start of what will be the body warmers, obviously that's not done yet. A very bare gift shop so far with nothing done on the interior, but I have used some kind of Viking-y references for this. And the way the roof is kind of coming out of the ground, that's based on actual images of Viking buildings. And then we've got the facade for the building, which I really, really like so far. We've got the rocks, obviously, which is a theme around the area. Obviously, we like the runes and stuff, very Norse, very Viking-y. And I don't think I mentioned it in the last update. The name of the ride is Voyage Through Yggdrasil, of course. Yggdrasil being the world tree, and obviously you're in a little boat, so you're going on a voyage through it. And then this is the entrance to it. I've done it as a little building, kind of a smaller on the outside, bigger on the inside kind of thing. So it looks like you're going into this little building, but it turns out you're actually coming into the building. And then in terms of the queue line, I've not done much in here yet, except starting to enclose it in walls. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do in here, because it's hard to theme it when it's not specific to a realm, but I'm sure I'll think of something. So now that's done with, let's get on to what I've done in the actual ride. So the first scene you come through and the last scene is a rotating Yggdrasil. Now when this is dark, this will be very, very nice. Maybe I should be showing this in darkness, but that'll come later on when it's all enclosed. But you've got lights in this tree and it's rotating, and then you come round and there's going to be more of this kind of viney stuff. That's just a start to it, but I will have more of that when I finish it. But the first realm you come into is Midgard, so that's Earth in Norse mythology. We're going to have all these buildings kind of mirroring what you see out here in the rest of the area with that. But of course, when this is finished, this is going to look really, really nice, very Viking-y. I'm going to dress it up as detailed as I can. And then Svartalfheim, which is the home of the dwarves who like making stuff, of course. So we've got the animatronics here. I really like these animatronics. I wish we had more people animatronics in the Viking theme, but these ones are really nice for this theme specifically. But then you've got all the red rocks. It's going to kind of look like you're underground, is what I'm hoping. You've got the chains and stuff. Next you go into Hell, which is pretty self-explanatory what Hell is. Now this might look a bit weird right now, but in the dark, with like green lights and stuff, it looks very mysterious. And yeah, so the drop is meant to signify you dropping into Hell. And there's going to probably be the character of Hela or Hell up here. And then coming through a big change in mood into Alfheim, as you can see. And here with the music and the bird song, it's very sweet, very nice, very gentle. Just the home of like the elves. And then Jotunheim, which is the home of the giants. This is probably one of the most unfinished ones. I've just started putting in some of the forest and started building a headless giant, which will have a head eventually. But I just put that in so I could test out this. So yeah, maybe people will get a bit more wet than I originally anticipated on this ride. But there will hopefully be more giants around here. And speaking of giants, there's a different type of giant, and that is a frost giant, because we're going into Niflheim. And here it is, the frost giant. And of course, all of like the snowy rocks and stuff. And these, I don't know what they're supposed to be, but they look cool, so I included it. And then these little guys as well, little frosty guys. And then we come into Muspelheim, which is the fire realm. Of course, we got, this is meant to be Surtur from Norse mythology, who you might recognise from Thor Ragnarok. But yeah, we've got this. I've used lots of reference images from Google to bring these realms together and get their aesthetics as good as I can. And then we've got an orange lava waterfall, a lava lake, and there will be more fire effects and pyrotechnics in here as well. Coming through into Vanaheim, which is the home of the Vanir, which is a race of gods. This is based off a specific image from Google where they had like this big palace made of like these green domes and stuff, and I wanted to try and mirror that, of course, with a bit of forced perspective and miniatures here. But I will dot all of these around and make it a bit more connected with bridges and walkways and stuff, and I think this is probably going to be my favourite realm when it's finished. Especially with like the waterfalls and stuff, it's going to look really pretty and nice. And then finally, of course, you have to go up to Asgard. So I've built this little rainbow, not bridge, but rainbow passageway to signify the Bifrost. And you'll go up into the gold gates of Asgard. And then I've done this little miniature. Now this is quite a different portrayal of Asgard to what is normally seen. And of course, it is all golden stuff in the in the Marvel movies, but it's a bit more grand. This feels a bit more steampunk, but I'm okay with that. There's no actual like set drawings of what Asgard is supposed to look like, so it's fine doing my own interpretation of it, especially since there aren't too many gold pieces in Planet Coaster 2. I think so far I've made good use of what there is, and obviously I will spread it out all the way over here, connect it all up, and there'll be lots of stuff to look at when it's done. And then after that, you just come right back through into the same room, back into here, blah blah blah. And then the exit path runs around here through this little building. Don't know what I'm gonna put in here yet, probably quite simple designs and stuff. And oh, they're walking backwards for some reason. there's nothing down here apart from the exit, but oh well, maybe they're just going for a wander. And then exit into the gift shop. Now I'm not quite sure about how I'm going to transition from the rock facade here into the wooden walls as you come outside. I'll probably just end it like there and then have this building jutting out of it, which will probably look the most seamless. But I'm not entirely sure yet. I will have to run through that. So yeah, that is a very quick run through. Well, not very quick. It's been like 9 minutes of recording for this section. But that is a run through of what we have so far in this area and in this dark ride. And I'm almost done. I've just got to add the final details, add the roof, add the lighting, all of that, which will finally bring it all together. Next time you see me, it will be all done. So cheerio, see you in the next update. So, you know how I said I was almost finished in the last update? Well, that was about 6 months ago. And there's a variety of reasons for that. The first one being that I've had exams on, which have occupied most of my life for the last half a year. The other reason being that building this has taken a lot longer than I initially anticipated. I wildly underestimated how much time it would take to bring this together. Alas, that 6 months has now passed, and voyage through Yggdrasil is now complete. We've got the roof on, a green roof. The reason for that being, well, firstly because you've got the hypercoaster here, and you want a nice view from the top of the hypercoaster of grass. Well, this is supposed to be grass, and not just, you wouldn't want it to be like that sort of texture all over, because it would be quite ugly from the top of this coaster. The other reason being for environmental reasons. This ride takes up a very large plot of land that, if it wasn't for the green roof, would be getting rid of a lot of habitats. So by having the green roof, it can still hold all of the biodiversity that would have been there otherwise. Right, so that's all I'm going to show from above for now, but I will go into first person mode for a little mooch around the area. This is the arch, unchanged from before. The plaza is now complete, and I really like how this looks. It feels very cozy and magical, and it's kind of, because it's cut off from the rest of the area, it feels really, really separate and nice. And the lovely plants and the tree, it all brings it together. And I have these magical rocks. I don't really know the significance of the magical rocks, but they're here and they look nice, so that's all that really matters. The gift shop, World Tree Gifts, that's all finished now. The interior is quite simple, but it works. It doesn't need to be anything complicated for a gift shop. You want the guests to be looking at the things you want them to buy, really, not the theming. And then finally the body dryers, those are complete. I made a little custom sign for them there, and yeah, all very simple, all very nice. That's the entrance plaza done. However, I'm just going to switch to night, because although Planet Coaster 2 has a nice lighting engine, it doesn't mean that that the interiors are completely good. Some light still manages to bleed through. For some reason, water glows during the day. I'm not really sure why, but turning it to night gets rid of that. And also there's some weird fog that sometimes appears during the day that doesn't appear during night. So by switching to night, I'm just ensuring that doesn't happen. But it's still like a bearable experience if you go in at daytime. But entering the queue now. This is the bit that took me the most time out of everything in that 6 month period. I found myself regretting how long I made this queue, let's just say that. Coming down the hallway into this huge room. It's a feasting hall. Now the idea of this queue is like it's a normal Viking day until Yggdrasil takes over, destroys everything. We've got some ambient sound in here. So this is it before Yggdrasil takes over. Some delicious piles of apples on the table, which seems to be the only food available in this feast. And here it is, one of the roots or branches of Yggdrasil jutting up, taking over, spreading along the floor, all over the wall there. Into the next room. More tree branches taking over. Everything is in quite a lot of disarray. The tables have been knocked over. The apples from earlier have been spilt all over the floor. More tree branches. Coming through now. tight corridor here. Oh dear, some more tree branches, and this one has seemed to have knocked off a chandelier. This is one of my favourite parts of the ride, this final section of the queue line. We come through the forest. There's some archery going on. Everything kind of goes a bit weird from here. So we've got the arrows shooting over. I checked, and it's not close enough to the guests that it could hit them in the head, which is good because you don't want them to actually be pierced by an arrow. And here, this room is inspired by the Norns, which are these guys, thanks to the sorcery pack animatronics. And they're basically in Norse mythology who bring together everyone's fate. It's kind of like the fates from Greek mythology, but the Norse mythology equivalent. And these red strings are all of everyone's different lives and fates that they're bringing together, weaving together. And again, there's more branch imagery in this room. Yeah, this is what I mean when I say everything starts to get a bit weird from here. So there's one of the dining room tables from earlier that has been somehow pierced on a pillar. There's another one here that's fallen over. Everything is just going a little bit wrong. Yeah, there's one attached to the wall. Coming through into the final room of the queue. We're completely submerged under Yggdrasil's branches now. Everything is treey. There's whatever these glowing eyes are looking at us. Cutting across this final cattle pen. And up the last stairs. Yeah, that is a massive queue. I doubt it would ever be full. But here we are into the station. I love how this station turns out. Now, obviously, the rotate... What is that guy just standing there for? The rotating station aspect of it. It obviously doesn't work completely with Planet Coaster 2, but if you just kind of ignore this kind of thing, it does look really good, really realistic. Reminds me of Fata Morgana at Efteling, how the queue comes all around the top before going down onto the rotating platform. And again, this room has been taken over by branches. Everything in here is just very magical. Oh, there's a wall sticking through there. Might have to go back and fix that. Coming down the steps. And this is where I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let the ride speak for itself, and then when it's finished, I'll talk through some more things. Let's take a ride. Whenever we get dispatched. There we go. Oh, we have to wait for the for the Planet Coaster ride operator to be replaced. Now, can you let us go? What are you laughing at? Can you stop, please? Excuse me? Thank you, finally. Alright. Bye, see you after the ride. And there we go. That was Voyage Through Yggdrasil, which I've spent the last 6 months working on. Now, as we come out the exit here, you could probably tell I took quite a lot of inspiration from kind of older style dark rides, like more practical sets, not as much like screens or advanced animatronics. That was the vibe I kind of wanted to go for. That sort of like hand built kind of old school dark ride feel, whilst also having a lot of scale to it as well. Right, so there's a few things which I actually want to show before we end out this episode that you may not have completely seen while you were on the ride. If I can maneuver myself well through this building. First of all, we have the maintenance area in here. It's quite dark, so I'll turn on my light. Very simple. You're not going to really see anything. You could see it a little bit from inside the ride, but nothing that crazy. So I kept it very, very simple in here. There's also more kind of maintenance area back around here. I think I probably put a bit too much effort into this, but whatever. And finally, of course, the green roof with the Legend Lake writing on it. So yeah, that is Voyage Through Yggdrasil. I don't know if there's going to be another dark ride in this park. If there is, it definitely won't be this huge because we only have so much map space. But whether there is or there isn't, this has been really enjoyable. It has taken an extremely long time, but it was definitely worth it. Now, in the next episode, we will be continuing with the Viking area in this very conveniently shaped out plot of land right here. And yeah, this ride has been underground here for quite some time. It's a Vekoma Junior coaster. Oh, I've just brought up the UI there. So, I'll see you in the next episode for that one. Take care, and goodbye.